Indeed, I have a vision of flooding the earth with the Book of Mormon.
Travis Wingoodsell. According to YouTube stats, it is very apparent from the pattern that the majority of people are recommended a video when they come on to YouTube and they choose to click on my video, as the majority who do not either know or do not bother to check out my channel to see that I have other videos. Stephen R. Covey is the one who published 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He's a Mormon, quite famous worldwide. Whenever anybody says the term win-win, that's from Stephen R. Covey in his book. And if you've read his book, you'll see that many people now are getting his book wrong. In the news last night, there's Utah's new compromise bill, which if they had read Stephen R. Covey's book and then they understood it, compromise is a lose-lose. Nonetheless, because of this pattern of YouTube viewers forced upon YouTube viewers by YouTube, I am forced to repeat information over and over and over and over and over, because the majority of the audience is new. Very few of you are repeat customers. Repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. And so are the likes for my videos. On the 14th, I did the video Joseph Smith Translation Revelation Bombshell. I got 7 likes. It's at 70%. Only 68 views. And yet, you get to the 18th, 4 days later, to my Mormon President John Taylor, 1877, New York Last Days Vision, 2025, Legionnaire's disease. 3 likes at 37.5%. 60 views. You can see that those who liked the 14th video did not return, or if they did return, didn't like the second video. But then yesterday, for my Utah Protecting LDS Church Family Services Psychology from the Worldly AI Psychology, 9 likes, 81.8%. Only 35 views when I checked it yesterday. So yes, I have to repeat information for you guys. And it's unfortunate, because if I start the video saying the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the great and abominable Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, I've already lost my Mormon audience. They refuse to understand before being understood. And so the thumbnail picture that I've already made up this morning, because of my dream, Originally, last night, when I came up with the idea for the thumbnail picture, it was just going to be Brendan Fraser as Dudley Do-Right on the back of his horse, saluting as a Canadian Mountie. This morning, when I woke up from my dream, this appeared. And so there's some background information that my audience must have in order to understand the meaning of the full picture and the individual pictures that are made up in it. Because otherwise, you're lost in the video. You're not going to understand what I'm about to talk with you about. Especially if you've not been following my channel, you'll know that I do news videos, as I will cover a whole bunch of news from last night for today. So yes, in the news was an article from Canada about the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. You need to know that story and know and understand the bigger context of my channel to understand why it's now Nelson and choose to repent. Mormons should know and understand choose to repent. And unfortunately, there's going to be those who won't. One, Nelson gave a conference talk. Two, it's the title of Mormonism. Way back in seminary when I was a kid, it was created from the KKK slogan of the shield from the early 1900s. And has multiple meanings, therefore. So let's choose the alt-right. And so yes, choose C, 2, T, repent, R, C, T, R. You gotta know that stuff. I wasn't sure about the cow. I was wanting to put the Book of Mormon passage in there for the expo audience. But nonetheless. So if you're clueless about what mountain that is, that's Mount Olympus here in Utah. Mount Olympus is also the home of Zeus. Yah. To follow me to understand the bigger picture. See, I'm a fan of The Simpsons. You can't just listen to The Simpsons. You have to watch The Simpsons. You have to watch the background of The Simpsons also. You have to slow down the video to read the text on The Simpsons. You can't just coast through The Simpsons. Can't do it. No. So yes, you should also know your Bible about the sheep and the goats. You should also know your Book of Mormon. You should know Joseph Smith correctly. Because like I said, if I were to start off telling you that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the great and abominable Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Mormons are offended and leave. They won't understand that the Book of Mormon teaches Mormons about the coming of the great and abominable Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. In graphic detail, so that there would be no error in getting deceived by false prophets from my authority video. So up in the upper left, this is the anniversary. 8-year anniversary. The eclipse is right there by the star Regulus. In 2 days, the full moon, or new moon, will be there again with the sun at Regulus. So I will take you back in time to the 20th of August, 2008. On the 6th of August, 2008, I filed a petition for a redress of grievances. As American citizens, everybody should know the wording that I just said, because every person who gets citizenship has to know that. It's on the test. At least I hope so. It's the First Amendment. We, the people, in order to form a more perfect union, have the Bill of Rights with the First Amendment of freedom to petition our government for a redress of grievances. And because I knew I would not get justice, I titled it Modern American Utopia. You're gonna need to know Thomas More's Utopia and the famous Drew Barrymore quote from Ever After. And put in some prophecies. Demonstrated that I'm a translator. On the 20th of August, 2008, I would go on to later find out that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, under Thomas S. Monson, ordered to have me disappeared, erased, tortured unto death, and then paid the Judas price. So on the 20th of August, I was locked up, detained as a terrorist threat for filing a petition for a redress of grievances according to the United States Constitution, Bill of Rights, First Amendment. Obviously a false accusation. I was wondering about the freezing of the camera. It didn't show yesterday. Here he is today. Here he is today. They will never leave me alone. They will never grant me freedom, religious freedom, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom to petition my government for redress of grievances, or freedom to peaceably assemble. Modern American Utopia. They detained me without doing anything overnight into the 21st, when they finally processed me. I was put before a little girl before being booked. The little girl asked, "Did you publish a book?" Well, yeah, technically I've published several books. I just don't have the money to publish them officially for others to buy. Next. Off to booking I went. Somehow that's a crime in Utah. Freedom of speech is a crime in Utah. All to have me disappeared, erased, tortured unto death. It ended up being 6 years. 21st of August, 2008 is Monson's birthday. He got a birthday gift that he himself paid for with your money. And all 15 of them, who all have to agree to any financial expenditures. All of them, all 15. Because it's a false accusation, the Book of Ishtar, or as you know it from the accent, Esther, kicks in. The Jewish holy day of Purim that comes from Deuteronomy 19:19, the law concerning court cases of false accusers and the punishment for the false accuser. The 21st of August, 2008. Monson's birthday, false accuser, punishment for the false accuser. It's too bad you haven't been following me. You already know what's coming otherwise. 8 days later, while in isolation, being tortured, I would never go to court. No hearings. Again, they're disappearing me. They're erasing me. They're going to torture me unto death. I will not have justice. This is a full-on attack. I have threatened their authority that they don't even have. My authority video the other day. I had a dream. It's unclear as to whether it was night or day. They maliciously had the lights left on, naked, on the metal bed, with the air conditioning being the only place that, or the only air conditioning in the building that worked. Not allowed to bathe, not allowed to brush my teeth, no toilet paper, spoiled food that I obviously refused to eat. Sending little girls from the University of Utah to see me naked, to see the freak show of how Utah is abusive, and teaching them to do it to other people once they graduate. In the dream, President Gordon B. Hinckley, who had died in January of that year, approached me with Marjorie, hand in hand. He was wearing a suit, she was dressed up. That wasn't the same outfit, similar. I came in, I don't even think I was wearing a suit. I never did for the devotionals at Rick's. I was heading to an event there in old, now gone, as BYU, Idaho is built on top of the ruins of Ricks College. Ricks College no longer exists. And so, if any of you are stupid enough to think that LinkedIn is an authoritative source to learn about me, rather than academia, you'll notice that it says that I am a graduate of BYU, Idaho. They didn't have Ricks College listed. And so I keep getting notifications from BYU, Idaho. It is not my school. My school is dead and buried with an Islamic mosque on it. Nonetheless, for some reason I had 2 tickets and it was just me to go to this event. President Hinckley shows up, all dressed up for the event. He doesn't have a ticket. He can't get in. And so he asked me, can we have your ticket to get into the event? Okay, here you go. And to show his gratitude, he then gave me the key card to his office. Pause for effect. This is a transfer of authority going on in the dream. The key card had the number 77 in red on it. That's why the pictures that I made. And so he went with Marjorie into the auditorium for the event with my 2 tickets, as I'm all by myself. Somehow I had 2 tickets. There were numerous times at Ricks College where I was tempted to think, well, maybe if I just get the 2 tickets and then I can get the courage to ask one of the numerous girls there to go with me. Too much abuse, didn't have the courage. And so I kept going down the hall to the elevators and did a drop from over level 200 to the bottom. And there were a couple other females that were involved. It's not necessary for this dream about how they were making out in the elevator. What the hell is this for? What the hell? What, huh? What are you doing? I don't want to see this. Bad enough that I only had 2 tickets and just me going. So the elevator opens. I'm the only one who gets out. We're at the bottom. And behind bulletproof glass is a little office with computers, with guys sitting at the computers dressed in suits. They're church security, in case you don't know of the process at Temple Square. One of the guys came out. I handed him the key card. He then took it over to the bulletproof glass in the administration building. Again, you have to know this background stuff for why it would be in my dreams. And scanned it in, and then typed in 666. Opened up the door and let me in. Went down the left. I soon realized that the numbering was not right. So went back, went to the right. Got to room number 88. Bus number 77 and 88. Assuming that this picture gets put in. And I look inside room number 88, and papers were stacked everywhere, on tables, on chairs, on shelves. I wanted to go and look at the papers. 5 seconds. It's dream time. It was at least 15 minutes. And so I kept walking, got to room 77, went in, empty. No authority. You gave me the key card to your office of authority, and nothing's there. Again, symbolism. This is a dream. It's not literal history. And so I see a post-it pad. It was yellow. Thus, yellow. And wrote on it, "Thank you," and left. Soon thereafter, in September, I believe, or right around this time, the world's economy collapsed exactly as I prophesied in Modern American Utopia. Greece would go bankrupt, had to be bailed out by Europe. If you're not going to listen to me, if you're not going to heed my warning, so I got out. 3 key persons retired. And I would soon find myself free 6 years later. Everybody was in panic. Oh no, he's free! I was supposed to be dead. In 2014, I would go on to see Russell Marion Nelson face to face as one man speaketh to another, looking him straight in the eyes, as he then knows who I am and gets angry. You failed. You failed. And here I am. Here he is. The two of us together on 3 separate occasions. 2014 is the start of the fulfillment of the parable of the 10 virgins. With lunar eclipses during the Virgo months for Passover of the Exodus of the Jews and Purim for false accusers and the punishment for false accusers. Along with the wise virgins who were on the full moons in Virgo rather than the new moons. Or they're both full moons because the lunar eclipse, yeah, I'm thinking new moons for the solar. So yes, just those specific years had the 2 sets in Virgo. No others. I ran the test. I did the picture, did the video. I have to repeat it for you because you're new. Also, what's important to know, to repeat, with my 8.8K videos. Remember 88? Room number 88? Yep, I'm seeing patterns being repeated. And all of the documents, all of the papers, piled up everywhere. Dream prophecy fulfilled. Dream prophecy fulfilled. Most Mormons will know that the 4 lunar eclipses of 2014-2015, including the ones for Tabernacles, Jewish Holy Day of Tents, Sukkot, Ingathering, Harvest, involved the deaths of Perry Packer Scott. 3 down, 12 more to go. And because of the fall of Packer, Nelson would go on to ban his little factory talk. But what most people don't know, it's because they don't know how to do the research, is that Richard G. Scott died on Yom Kippur on the 22nd of September. Do you remember the 22nd of September? Because the 21st of the evening of September, 1823, is the next day in the Jewish calendar. 6 p.m. starts the next day. So when Joseph Smith tells you that in the evening of the 21st, it's the Jewish calendar of the 22nd. And so 2 sets, 4 times, 22nd of September. And here, Richard G. Scott, number 3, is dead on that day. Yeah, there's a lot more coincidences. Coincidences. I already gave you Monson's birthday on the 21st. Today. Which most people will see it tomorrow. Nonetheless, and notwithstanding, you need to include solar eclipses. Because in 2015, the 20th of March was the first of Nisan. And the 13th of September was the new year for the civil calendar. Nisan is the religious calendar new year, civil calendar, the beginning. So you'll never guess the end of the latter days when those solar eclipses occurred. Yep, on the last day of the year. Oh, interesting. Just a coincidence. Just a coincidence. And so I've therefore done the videos and pictures about how Joseph Smith is a translator of Egyptian, and you should have trusted him rather than catering and caving to the wisdom of the world of Egyptology that knows nothing about it. Dear God. Joseph Smith was telling you when the latter days would begin. Abraham chapter 1 verse 11. 3 Virgos lunar eclipses at one time. So, boom, 15th of April, 2014, lunar eclipse during Passover. 4th of April, 2015, lunar eclipse, Passover. 23rd of March, 2016, Purim. The first 3 foolish virgins, lunar eclipse, latter days. They are of Ham, with no authority, thus foolish. Joseph Smith is brilliant, and you don't believe him. He's your founder, you draw near to him with your lips, and you don't believe him. Dear God. And so, he even gave you the date for the first solar eclipse in facsimile number 1. Abraham chapter 1, verse 12, the very next verse. Joseph Smith knew. This is why he got this out for you. Rushed it out in 1842 with the history that he also wrote for you with the second vision. You kind of need to trust your founder, Mormons. You are not loyal enough. You are not true Mormons, even though you call yourselves true. Right, Danites? Again, oh my God, so much for you to get caught up on, because you're not following me. You didn't do the research. And you know there are Mormons who know about all this when they call themselves Desnat, or the other one that I found out earlier this year from a comment. You know you're the enemy, and you attack me for telling you that Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon are true? Yeah, because you're the enemy. You know you're the enemy, and that's why you freeze my camera, that's why you cyber attack me, that's why you silence my channel, that's why you cover me up and hide me, disappear and erase me, torture me unto murder. And you failed. Fourth of November, 2016. Fox 13 News, Utah. Forced us to watch the whole news until the very last segment. Before 10 a.m. in the morning to go to the morning show, whatever they had. And they announce that on Monson's birthday, which they didn't put with Monson's birthday, they just said 21st of August 2017, would be a total solar eclipse over the United States of America. I dropped my jaw. I knew exactly what that meant. And thus began the winding down of getting the full publication of the Paleo-Hebrew script out, and began searching the scriptures for other passages that contained calendar dates and clock times for the latter days, using that as my starting point. Oh, look at that. There it is. Revelation chapter 12, verses 1, 2, and 5, Joseph Smith translation, 1 to 3. 23rd September 2017. my #1 video still to this day, because the church panicked that I knew. Nelson had taken over. He knows me. And he gave the order to silence me. And thus why you most likely are brand new to this video if you're still listening. If you weren't offended at any point thus far, Joseph Smith was correct. You, as a Mormon, did not believe him. You made up other excuses to say that he's true. So this has been my mission, not just because the Hinckley dream with 88, room number 88, began in May 2017, because of the dream I had in February 2017, right before I would fulfill Revelation chapter 12 concerning the flood. Yeah, you saw the thumbnail picture. You're still listening, right? You're still here? You saw that? Mm-hmm. Yep. I told you I had a dream of Egyptian hieroglyphic bread, all fear and tremble. Did you not listen? Did you not believe? God. And so, going back to 2016, I had a dream, and in the dream, I was living in a tent. Remember, Feast of Tents, Tabernacles, harvest of wheat for bread, ingathering, Exodus to Zion, Jewish, not Christian. For the Jewish tabernacles on the 15th, 7 plus 8 in Tishri, and the house of Israel, the northern tribes, tabernacles on the 15th of Heshvan, a month later. Two sets of 7 and 8. I saw Monson's boots, black boots. And so I got out without shoes, holding the boots in my hand, went to go give them back to Monson. He's still alive. He's not dead yet. And he's surrounded by his military, his guards, who are packing heat. And I call out to him, "Hey, do you want your boots back?" He just keeps on going. Okay. So I took him back to the tent. Transfer of authority. Then last year, skipping ahead, 9/11, 2024, a dream, which I made sure to give you the time on this one, 3 a.m. Hiring is wanting to transfer authority to me, to lay his hands on my head. The number 15 popped into mind twice. Two sets, 7 and 8. Transfer of authority. This is not your church, Nelson. You need to hand it over. So, as of last year, I started talking about the final 4 events needed for the latter days. The fall of the great and abominable church. Book of Mormon focuses on this with the Exodus patterns in the stories, so the Mormons would not be confused as to what the Book of Mormon is trying to tell Mormons. And yet, and then a transfer of authority must happen. Physical one, not a dream one. Dream is nothing. We need the physical transfer so that the Mormon can take you in the Exodus to Zion to save your lives from the human extermination that the great and abominable church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is going to cause. Getting other people to do it and framing and blaming Jesus, the Christian false god. And thus, I already knew this, 2020 was supposed to be the Exodus year, as prophesied in all Scripture. Again, 8.8K videos. Through the chain of events that Monson caused, lowering the age of missionaries, this then resulted in little Sister Jessica at 19 years of age going out on her mission. Otherwise, if Monson didn't make the change, Sister Jessica would not have gone out on her mission in 2020. And she therefore would not have received a copy of the email that her mission president in Australia, President Marquis, would have sent out to stake presidents and parents, and posted it on her mission website for people to find last year in November and get back to me about it. Oh my God. 2020, March 14th, he is quoting from Oaks in the meeting for new mission presidents. Saturday in Las Vegas, Nevada. President Dallin H. Oaks, who is pissed and forbids anybody from recording him. Who did the little video clip for the church, in which he says, most Mormons won't remember anything I said. They're more impressed with their feelings about my mantle. So I can say whatever I want. And so, yes, with that thinking in mind, he did that to the new mission presidents. In the presence of a living prophet of Jesus. With no authority. And he leaks that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the great and abominable Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And sure enough, he's right. They have indoctrinated Mormons with spiritual witness feelings rather than studying the Word to produce the results of the Word. To understand that the end of the world is the second coming of Jesus. And therefore, the end of the world involves mass murder, theft, hoarding money for Jesus. Nelson came out with a first presidency statement in response to the whistleblower of Ensign Peak Advisors. Yeah, parable of the talents. We do this with all our sources of income, not just tithing. Wait, you've got more government violations than just Ensign Peak Advisors? The SEC should have gone after all those other sources of incomes, so it's several dozen times 5 million? Oops. Kind of need to shut up if you're a criminal, Oaks. If you're a secret combination, a terrorist organization. Yeah. And coup of government. Jesus Christ is going to reign as King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Really? Where is he? Where is he? I see Trump is doing everything you prophesied that Jesus was going to do. But where's Jesus? Evangelicals believe that Trump is Jesus's representative. Just like King Cyrus. Just, oh my God. And says that 2020 is going to be a test run, a trial run for the end of the world. They're going to cause it. They're going to blame Jesus. So yes, if you did your church history because you didn't follow me, you'd know about the Danites. You'd know Thomas B. Marsh. You'd know Joseph Smith. All warning you. The Book of Mormon warning you of them. And you would not listen. Nobody's listening to me. Consequences always follow. When are you going to get it? And so now, today, the 8th anniversary with 8.8K videos. And in 2 days, 23rd of September 2017 will be the new year this year. Just so that you know. 21st of August 2017 was also the ancient Egyptian religious calendar New Year, which means the Egyptians also knew the dates of prophecy for the coming of their Christ. Yep. Here comes the flood, Mormons. Here comes the flood. So Mormons should have known, when the Book of Mormon says in the beginning that it's in the learning of the Jews, that you need to know the learning of the Jews. As I went over with you, if you don't know the learning of the Jews, you're not going to see any of the signs and what they mean, and that here we go. Everything is on Jewish holy days. According to the prophecies, according to the calendars that they did by tradition. And yet, here we go. So when the Book of Mormon talks about synagogues, and that those synagogues get overtaken and replaced with the Great Spirit, and you can't make the connection that it's Christianity replacing the Jews with the first creed of Christianity, which Joseph Smith says is all wrong, abominable, and corrupt, that the Book of Mormon is a tragedy. It is not the fullness of the gospel. What the bleeping hell? Everybody dies in the end. It's a death book. And that's exactly what Joseph Smith told you it was in the second vision, which, if you'll notice in the Book of Mormon, they asterisk that out. In the introduction pages of the Joseph Smith history. Oh my hell. And so yes, I just, this is a horrible tragedy of Mormons who are so clueless and far gone, having been drinking the Kool-Aid of this church, to not even know that they are the fulfillment of all scripture prophecy. That, yeah, it is your church. It is Joseph Smith. But that you are in bondage to the great and abominable church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And you don't want to admit it. Your pride won't allow it. Your desire to serve your Lord and Master Lucifer dominates your life, to take away the agency of others. Deceptive authority. Yeah, I don't know if... We're still... I'm not sure how long the previous video was, to know how much extra stuff I have to repeat for you guys. Okay, it was 14 minutes. Okay. And so 58, so we're almost at an hour. Oaks warned you, as he tried to distance it from him being guilty. That you have to pay attention to the motives of people who tell you stuff. Why are they telling you this? What is their motivation for doing so? I've told you my motivation. Mormons don't believe it. They call me an anti-Mormon, antichrist, apostate, Koror, when I'm trying to save their lives. And yet, none of this information was given to you by Nelson. Just me. They are betraying you by keeping all of this a secret from you. They are destroying the world. They're going to cause mass extermination of the human race. They're stealing money. That at least you know, but then you believe them when they say they're hoarding it for Jesus. See how they've twisted the prophecies to force them to be them? Yeah, that's what Brian David Mitchell did. You know him as bad, right? And yet when the church does it, it's okay. Again, they're causing a fall and a transfer of authority for their Zion. Just no Exodus. And so, when I do the news, you're supposed to keep Oaks in mind about motivation. That's why I go after you, psychologists, exposing them for the fraud that they are, the criminal, dangerous, national security threat fraud that they are, and condemning the local news for promoting them. But yeah, I mean, for religion, priestcraft, if they're doing it for money, you can't trust them. Right, Oaks? Again, he thinks you're stupid when he said that. He is getting paid as an apostle, and he's telling you, those who practice priestcraft, you shouldn't listen to them. As a priestcrafter himself, saying it over the pulpit of conference. And Mormons are pissed with me. What the hell is wrong with you guys? They're bleeping, bleepity bleep. And so, government likewise. Obviously, MAGA is going to tell you stuff to favor MAGA. And deep state Dems are going to tell you stuff to favor deep state Dems, and progressives are blah, blah, blah. You need to pay attention. Companies, businesses, when they do advertising, pay attention. Of course they're going to tell you their product is great and that you need to buy it now. Obviously. You shouldn't trust them. You need to run the test for what you need in life, not be threatened by YouTube to watch this and buy it, or YouTube will punish you. Which, there's a company from Cyprus buying advertising on YouTube that is dangerous, involving psychology. Because my videos have been exposing psychology, AI is picking up on this for YouTube and is advertising this Cyprus company. That's not even a company, it's just an advertisement of falsehoods. There is nothing behind it. It's an advertising company to advertise for the sake of advertising. Clickbait. By definition. And YouTube getting paid by this enemy threat to promote them. Thus, making YouTube the enemy threat too, by association, accepting the money that Nelson or Monson gave them to do what they did to me for 6 years. Giving aid and comfort to the enemy makes you the enemy. And so, hypersexuality, there's no such thing. Packer's Little Factory Talk made that very clear. And it's banned. And so after reporting that, because they won't let me do the click and say, do not recommend this ad ever. And so they mocked me by putting another one of theirs. Procrastination plan. Low libido and procrastination? Ooh, an AI woman. She's so real. I want her as my girlfriend. Take the test. There is no product here. They may refer you to Big Pharma to take drugs. This is how dangerous it is. And YouTube's involved in this. And no doubt, I'd already reported it day or two ago, earlier this week or something, maybe even on Sunday. And yet, here it was again yesterday. Everybody is on full attack, and too many people just don't understand it. You get all these people doing the TikTok challenges, putting their lives in danger to be popular. And you don't see that as a problem? I want to be popular. I want them to love me. I need people to like and subscribe. My whole existence is dependent on people loving me. You do know that Monson did die, right? And I probably have to repeat that he died in a flaming pile of hell fury. Scripture prophecy, curse of Joseph Smith. Oh, he went down in flames. And Nelson still is not going to hand it over, are you? You're that proud and arrogant to think you're going to get away with it? Even though, yes, technically you got away with the curse of Joseph Smith, but like I did the video earlier this year, it is now going to be accompanied with the fall of the great and abominable Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I had a dream of Egyptian hieroglyphic bread. Fear and tremble. I only do what I'm inspired to do. Only inspired. So, yeah, the nuclear fallout was recommended to me in the news yesterday also. Salt Lake City is gonna burn in hell. Remember, Meta is now plugged into our nuclear plants. That ought to go over well. AI hasn't caused any problems anywhere else, have they? Doing fire sales, cyber terrorist attacks, shutdowns of the Intermountain Medical Center. Nope, not at all. Not at all. Here comes the flood, Mormons. Here comes the flood. 6,000 student visas revoked. Again, have to go over and repeat. Trump is changing America into Nazi America, thanking the American liberators from World War II. Stephen Miller, little demons on both shoulders of Trump, said, Hitler did this, we ought to do it, it would be so cool. So yeah, he went to the military in DC yesterday for the photo op. Because that's what the Nazis did. So there's Stephen Miller. It was his plan. He told Trump to do it. And so yes, we're all supposed to have concentration camps in every single state. Democrat states are supposed to be conquered and turned into MAGA states. Thus the redistricting. 3 Nephi chapter 7. You've got the Book of Mormon, and you don't even believe it. And so the police in every state are supposed to become the military police, working with ICE and the National Guard. This is the pattern that Trump is setting the example of for you. You're not getting it. The SS, the stormtroopers, hello. I had that dream too. They're doing away with police. They're now becoming the SS. Stormtroopers. Nazis. Militant Nazis patrolling the streets. Martial law. Walmart. You thought it was Obama. And so everyone who is not of the pure white master race are to be deported. Section 119, to help the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Oh, we're not doing it, it's Trump. You were unworthy. You should have paid your tithing. Bye-bye. And so everybody, Democrats, Democrat press, LGBTQ, oh my hell, you guys got played like chumps. Psychologists really did a number on you, and I warned you, you didn't listen, and here it is. Blacks, all those of color, Islam, and all other religions than evangelical whites. The poor and the homeless, undocumented, naturalized through an undocumented parent, Asian, the elderly, disabled. All companies getting federal funding are supposed to now go private. The educational system, public schools, private. Hospitals, private. Social Security, privatized. Court defense lawyers, privatized. If you can't afford a lawyer, you don't get one. And everything controlled by AI. Revisionist history. Supporting MAGA Trump. No more federal funding. Every single state is to become independent, running by themselves as MAGA. And so Trump is desperately trying to trigger a civil war to suppress the Democrat states and sanctuary cities as a result. Everybody is supposed to have their own economy. Pay attention to that when I get to this list of what's coming. And women are to be trad wives. Everything is going to happen. And so thus the student visas are revoked. Because you are not allowed in America. You're on that list. The schools are supposed to become privatized. And so after America turns MAGA and everything is privatized, then the companies of the educational systems can then bring to their school those from whatever country will pay them. So they'll be rich. Even if you are on that list, you're rich, so you get a pass, an exemption clause. U.S. warships are heading to Venezuela. Yep. See, Trump's first term, he was able to negotiate the hostage release of the Mormon here in Utah, who did not thank Trump. Trump was not happy. You can see that in the video in the Oval Office. You dumbass. You're not thanking the one who freed you? Even Zelensky the second time around learned better. Oh, dear God. And so yes, warships to Venezuela. He's got to trigger a war somehow. Bubonic plague in California. Another disease attempt. And still, the Legionnaire's disease in New York has gone silent. What's up with that? Why are people following me but not noticing that they're following, or not letting me know that they're following them, other than the lack of information that they're now doing? What's up with that, Fox? Arkansas is now only allowing white folk to live in Arkansas. Trump's master plan. Final solution. Arkansas is obeying now. Oklahoma. Yep, them too. They're getting transfers from California and New York to become teachers in Oklahoma. So Oklahoma is giving them testing to make sure that they're not woke. Following Trump's plan. They're obedient. What about you, Cox? Oh, still nothing yet? Setting Utah up to be conquered by Trump for your disobedience. So the Smithsonian revising history to remove slavery now. Never happened. Nothing to see here. Move along. Which means he has to get rid of the Constitution, because in the Constitution it says there was slavery and that there was amendments to do away with slavery. Oops. Trump is well underway of doing away with the Constitution anyway. Constitution is ruined, not on the brink of ruin anymore. CIA is warning that Trump is a puppet. He's not real. Somebody's got a hand up. You know somebody is a puppet of somebody else when they quote without referencing other people. When they just regurgitate what they were told by somebody else to believe. So, do I still have that comment? Doesn't look... Yep, here it is. Just a little quick one. On my Oxford Dictionary defines. A guy who's legitimate, I checked him out, he's into weights, probably takes steroids. ATA trades. That's why I had to check him out, because it looked AI to me. He said, look up Mormon monarch on Google. Why are you Mormon-splaining to me? You come to one video, you didn't bother to check my channel to see that I've got over 8.8K videos, plus the other channels. You didn't see what topics I talk about. You didn't see the playlists of what I have. And you're going to tell me about the Mormon Church. You think that I'm stupid, I don't know everything, and so you're telling me what to do. But what he's doing, this isn't what he learned. This is what somebody else told him, and he's passing it on to me as authoritative, as truth. Everything I've told you so far in this video, nobody else in the universe knows, other than the scripture prophets who wrote it. And so if you're thinking he's faith promoting, this church is extremely evil. Oh my God. Do not come to my channel and tell me to go look up somebody else's information. I am the source of truth. I did the research. I don't parrot or puppet somebody else's stuff. And you see that all the time in this clash of tribalism. Mormons refuse to listen to Exfo Nevermos because they're not faith promoting. And Exfo Nevermos refusing to listen to Mormons because they're not doubt promoting. It's all stupid. Go to the words. You know, at least Exfo Nevermos know that the church is lying. But then they stop there. They don't learn what the Book of Mormon is. That it's a book of doom. It's a tragedy. God. So, yes, if you're parroting other people's stuff, you're a puppet. You are brainwashed by them. You are incapable of thinking for yourself. I'm still not going to talk about this. So we'll set this aside. Maybe I'll talk about it in the future. So there's the compromise bill. And yeah, you are now helping mentally retarded people. Again, go back to Oaks. What is their motivation? University of Utah. Well, they're in education. They ought to know education stuff. Well, yeah, they also have a business, psychology, with their psychology department. They need money. Thus, business craft. You can't trust them. They're lying to you about psychology. Psychology is a fraud. They are not telling you this. They can't. It's their job, their lifestyle. They've got to perpetuate the lie so that they get money. And so, their clients are dependent upon them, addicted. As a client to a psychologist, you are addicted to the psychologist. They make you addicted. You have to keep coming back. You have to keep getting drugged. And thus, self-supporting Big Pharma. University of Utah is also a part of the concentration camps of psychology here in the state of Utah. Treatment centers. Can I just cut off this part? Save for another time. It's the big thing everybody's talking about in the local news. In case you were wondering. And I won't talk about it. Because I'm pissed. The White House has taken away clearances of 37 officials, more officials. And so Nelson and the church are refusing to prepare Mormons for the physical destruction that is coming for the latter days. They tell you that there will be physical destructions, economic destructions, but they are not telling you how to prepare. They're not helping you to prepare. As the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, they are hoarding money. The tithing, which is called even by them fire insurance, which means it's a criminal operation, RICO violation, is not giving back the money when you need it. We have witnessed in the news just this year alone of people who have lost their homes and property to fires, literal fires, and the church isn't helping them with the insurance money for fire insurance. This is a type and shadow of the great and abominable Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints that is setting you up and sabotaging you and betraying you for the second coming burning of Jesus. Mass murder. Just as they betrayed you with your local fire destroying your life, they are betraying all with the big burning event in the coming days. In the coming days. And so, there's a big difference in physical salvation, which the concept of the resurrection, according to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, talks about a physical, bodily resurrection from the dead. And yet, they claim they don't have the keys for it. And tell you that if you're righteous, you will be resurrected, unlike the others who are dead from the massive burning event that's coming. That's it. That's how they're telling you. Be good, pay your tithing, keep the covenant path, and you'll be resurrected when you're burned. That's it. They are not helping you financially. They are not helping you obtain a supply. They do not have anywhere near enough storehouses around the whole world, because storehouses to them is Jesus' storehouse. That's the important one. Not the charity storehouse for the bishops. They expose themselves as evil, and Mormons still drink the Kool-Aid. Oaks got leaked. So, North Carolina, they saw it coming a week in advance, just as I did. That's why I was able to say, it ain't gonna hit land, but there's gonna be great surfing if you want to die. And so now that it's upon them, North Carolina has been preparing, physically preparing for the coming destruction. Reinforcing buildings, building up walls of dirt, levees, to try to keep back the 30 feet of water coming in. They've been preparing. even though it's at the last minute, but at least they're preparing. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is doing nothing like that. They just tell you, as long as you're righteous, you'll be resurrected when you're dead. That's it. And you're drinking the Kool-Aid, huh? I mean, yeah, it's black cherry is everyone's favorite, I guess. And so Wyoming, following Trump, has now started their own economy with stablecoin. Can you shove your head up Trump's puppet hole any further? Every state's supposed to get their own economy going. Wyoming is the first to finally do it, even though Trump's already been doing it for his family. And so, Trump is calling for the firing of the Federal Reserve governor. See, he can't get the Federal Reserve chairman, Powell, so he's going after everyone else. He wants to destroy the economy. Again, every state's supposed to have their own economy. Cox. This is what he's doing. 3 Nephi chapter 7. Nobody believes. Every Mormon draws near to the Book of Mormon with their lips, but their hearts are far from it. And so Texas finally passed the gerrymandering map in the House. So I guess it'll go on to the Senate and get approved. And 3 Nephi chapter 7 fulfilled. What about you, Cox? Canada. There it is. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police have on their systems a programming that flags all media and press as child porn. Just hilarious. And I don't, it's unclear because I think this can't be an actual person who did that. It has to be the AI program that must be in their system. But for them not to take it down or fix it, it's just stupid. U.S. sanctioned the International Criminal Court. They are a terrorist organization after October 7th, along with the UN, along with a number of allied nations exposing themselves as sleeper cell enemies. And so, anybody watch the video where I told you about the Arab nations met together and created their own ceasefire agreement for Hamas and Israel, and Hamas approved it. Yeah, we like this. We approve. Yeah, we'll do it. And I told you that there's going to be something in there that Israel is not going to be happy with, and they'll refuse, and it's all intended to have everybody hate Israel for not stopping the war. Well, yeah, Israel is refusing to accept it because it refuses to release the hostages. And so now everybody's upset with Israel again. Stop the fighting! They've got hostages! They're terrorists! And everybody has been exposed as supporting terrorism. They're bleeping hell. So, there's a teenage girl in Colorado. I checked, she's not FLDS. And this is why it's important to not think that you know everything and you're gonna do it on your own. To repeat the scripture. Probably should have done it earlier, but there's so much to repeat. Section 103, about your Christ, Mormons. 15 through 18. Behold, I say unto you the redemption of Zion. The fall of the church, the transfer of authority to the Mormon, who will then take you in an exodus, like Moses, so that you can build Zion and live in peace, safety, and refuge. Therefore, I will plagiarize Deuteronomy 18, verse 15 through 19. Raise up the Jewish Christ, the human, unto my people. Joseph Smith says he's going to be a Mormon. A man who shall lead Mormons like as Moses, the Jewish Christ of the future. That's why Joseph Smith gives you all the dates necessary for you exclusively, Mormons. And you don't believe them. They've all happened. That Mormon is here, Mormons. And you don't care. You're not looking for him. You can't see him. You are not running the test. For Mormons are the house of Israel, the children of Israel, the seed of Abraham. The human is of seed, not space alien seed. You must needs be led out of bondage. Abraham, by the way, also. Abraham sacrificing Isaac. Yep. Calendar date, clock time. Yep. And thus, Abraham sacrificed on the lion couch for the 21st of August, 2017. Joseph knows how to translate Egyptian. Egyptologists don't. As your fathers were led at first, even so shall the redemption of Zion be. There are too many Mormons who think that they're going to be the ones to be the guy. If you're not born as him, you ain't him. As I told you in a video the other day, all Jewish prophets, the Book of Mormon, Joseph Smith, have a whole long listing of prophecies that must be fulfilled for him and him alone. He's got to fulfill every single one. Even the ones that Christians rejected. Those need to be included. Such as Lilith trying to murder him as a baby. Everything. Burning his tongue on hot burning coal. Everything. Pushing his brother off the roof. Everything. Everything. 2 failed marriages. Everything. Locked up as an innocent man. Everything. And yet there are Mormons who think that they are going to cause it. Just like the church taught them to. Because they're causing it. So Chad Daybell, the latest infamous example. He's going to help Jesus with the second coming and burn the zombies, chop them up in the body, and chop up their body, and bury them in his backyard. Bastard. And I'm concerned that, hopefully he's trapped in prison when it all hits the fan so that he can't get out and then he dies of starvation. That would be justice. But there's a teen girl who apparently is a Mormon. So she is born and raised in the church. She's being taught about the second coming. She's a teen girl. She's going to seminary. And they apparently had the lesson on the second coming. And so she felt inspired that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is true because her seminary teacher said so in Colorado. And so her parents are wicked. They're not listening to the Spirit. Which is a common thing in the church. And she has now performed the exodus to Zion, as the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints says at Salt Lake City, Utah, Temple Square. And so now she's missing. Right here, Mormons. 103. He leads you. You don't lead him. You don't lead other Mormons. You don't go your own self. You listen to him. You follow him. You wait. As frustrating as it's been. The fall must happen first, then the transfer. Everybody will know about it, so that Mormons won't be deceived. And then and only then he will put out the Section 133 call for you. Then. And I'm just going to cry if this little teen girl ends up dead. Because the church lied to her and deceived her. That she will never get to Zion that she apparently wants to get to. Because that's the way I was as a child, being taught by this church. I wanted to get to Zion. But mine was for potentially slightly different reasoning. I was born in raised up in Southern California among white supremacist Christian nationalist peers. And they scared me with what they wanted to do to their fellow man. And here they are, all grown up and doing it. That's why I wanted to get to Zion. Because Section 45 says that'll be the only place that will not be trying to exterminate mankind. It'll be the only place of peace, safety, and refuge. And obviously it's not Salt Lake City. Because I'm not going to talk about that incident either. And so, yeah, this has to go with the other thing. And AI deepfakes are out of control. No duh. They are designed to destroy, to cause a civil war. That's one of the many ways of doing it. Multiple ways and backup plans for failures. Alrighty. Here comes the flood, Mormons. So yes, even the description below, you gotta pay attention to those.